So, welcome everyone. So, we have another Maxroll podcast here, together with some of our writers. We are discussing Season 10 in Diablo 4, and for all of those watching here on the stream and or on YouTube or wherever you see or hear this, well, we're just gonna talk through basically all of the big updates. I have a topic list prepared here. We're gonna go through, first of all, like a little introduction for everyone, then what's the favorite build everyone is looking forward to, the highlights and the patch notes, then we're gonna go in depth about Chaos Armor, Chaos Perks, all of the seasonal stuff, and then we're gonna have some kind of lighthearted discussion at the end and future wish lists and questions from chat maybe. So this is kind of the rough plan here. We're going for like around 90 minutes. And before we jump in, I want to have a quick introduction from everyone. So I am Budijo, the host of this podcast. I am the Maxroll team lead for Diablo and especially Diablo 4. So we have just kind of finished updating all of our stuff, and tier lists are out, build guides are out. Lots of work has been done by our team members, and we have a few representatives here from the rest of our team. So let's jump in. Let's go in the order: Eva, Condis, and Matthias.
Well, hello everyone. I'm Eva. I'm the rogue class lead and frequent flyer of the Dash Enjoy Club. I make sure that Matthias and other people get their guides written on time. So if Matthias doesn't publish his stuff, then scream at Matthias for me, so I don't have to do it.
Hey everyone, I'm Condis. I'm helping with Barbarian on Maxroll. My favorite build ever is D3's Frenzy Barbarian, and I yearn for a good Frenzy build in D4 because, yeah, we got the basic skill stuff for the season 9, but it's not itching the right spots. But yeah, rank 1 gamer as Woody, mainly rank 2 gamer because of Woody, and we'll see how it goes in the future. maybe I'm gonna beat him sometime if we have an opportunity. I always boast because I killed Woody in the PvP event and I got his ear in D4. We had like a very nice max roll PvP event and I won. So yeah,
Yes.
I'm sometimes rank 1.
That was great. Yeah, thank you. And Matthias.
You can put that on your resume. Yeah, I'm Matthias. I'm writing rogue guides for Maxroll the last 2 seasons, and I'm one of those few people who actually love Diablo 4. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. It's kind of like taboo to enjoy this game, maybe. But no, I love this game. Played every season, and yeah, that's me.
Fun not allowed.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, guys, for the intro. And let's jump right in. So the first question that I have, like, what is the favorite build you guys are looking forward to? Let's just discuss this, like what gets you really hyped? What are you gonna start with or so, and like maybe build towards? So what do you guys got that is like really special this time around? Just go ahead,
I can
anyone.
hop in. I am like I've only played Rogue every season. Like it's probably played an unhealthy amount of Rogue, but so whenever there's a potential for maybe like a little variation of a new build within the Rogue atmosphere of the class, I'm very excited. And in season 10, there's these chaotic bursts that are in that, like the seasonal perks that you can spawn. And so this is something new. So whenever it's something new, I get excited to try that out. And I think it's going to be surprisingly strong. There's no public guide about it yet, but I'm really excited to play around with that. I'll start with Flurry. I think Flurry is the most casual, like chill experience. You just hold one button and you fly around the world. It's fast paced, so I'm gonna start with that. But then heading into the chaotic bursts rogue, and that's me.
Yeah,
Okay,
sounds cool.
I can go secondly. I like the chaos stuff. The chaos explosions are very fun. I believe I'm gonna try some. I believe both on Spiritborn and Barb. I'm focusing mostly on Spiritborn and Barb next season, but I'm gonna play all classes probably because I usually do play all classes. But I'm starting Spiritborn because evade is back, and now you don't even have to evade on evade because the wording is that you have to use eagle or evade. So you can change your rushing close into eagle skill and then just go rushing claw feathers. So like you are as fast as Sork, and then you just shoot everything on the screen. So I'm gonna try to make this variant because it's like the fastest. Like imagine OG season 6 evade, but 3 times faster. So
Yeah,
that sounds good. I believe that's gonna be my starter. So that sounds good. And then I'm gonna just try to do some frenzy stuff with the chaos explosions, as Matthias said. Like I believe it's not gonna be as good on Barb as you can do it like on Rogue or Spiritborn, but I just like to make like a funny frenzy variant every season. So that's gonna be like a goal to make a good frenzy build. But I'm just gonna start evade because it's so good, so fun, and you can make it even better. If someone remembers the OG season 6, like the bugged version, then you can make this but better. So that sounds amazing.
okay, sounds cool actually. Yeah, this Russian Claw stuff is definitely interesting. I think in general Spiritborn is looking very cool this season, but I guess we're gonna talk about that a lot later on, so let's go, Weber.
Yeah.
I mean, I spent like 60 hours making this build, so I'm definitely gonna talk. Nah, I'm not gonna talk about Dash Rogue anymore. So I don't know, honestly. Like, I find all of the builds kind of interesting, and I do enjoy the new Inner Sight Dance of Nice build because there are no snapshots, there's no clunky like energy recharge, spending shenanigans. It's just spin and kill everything on screen. So I'm really looking forward to playing that a little bit. But it's like Matthias said as well, like we have a bunch of builds that are pretty strong this season and a bunch of kind of like new ones, puncture, combo points, poison trap is I don't know. There are so many weird ones that it would be kind of fun to test. But for me, I'm kind of like Monka about the shadow step poison trap shenanigans that chat was talking about earlier. I actually think he might be kind of cooking. Might be kind of cool. Be fun to do.
Yeah, and
So I'm making a plan now for it, and it actually looks pretty decent.
and the kitchen is still hot in Ava's chambers, right? So he has been cooking on those rogue builds. I know, like I think a lot of people are looking forward to some Dance on Ice action as well. So it's nice to see that it's kind of back and really strong as well from start to finish. So that's gonna be really cool, I guess. All right, and for me,
What about you then, Woody?
yeah, what about me? Well, I will start as a druid. It's my first time starting as a druid.
Login.
Yeah,
Kinda
it's
weird.
just no, I don't think it's weird. I actually had a lot of fun in druid in season 9, and now it's just like kind of even better than ever. So Polarize is like insane. So he's gonna like walk in and just destroy. So that is like at least my starter. But builds that I'm really looking forward to are probably on the Spiritborn, because Spiritborn just gets like the most kind of like exciting updates, I think, across the board. A lot of builds are changing. I just kind of finished like rewriting a bunch of my endgame guides, for example, on Maxroll, and there was like so many changes with like the chaos powers and how you play the build now and so on. And they're getting a lot of stuff. So there's definitely some cooking to do there. But Druid as a starter, I feel like this is a really good opportunity. So I'm jumping in with that. I'm also excited for the Ravens, for example, Razor Wings. So this is the kind of stuff I'm looking forward to the most right now. So we'll see.
Have you looked into shred leveling on druids?
Shred leveling, yeah.
I've looked into the boilers guide, and it looks amazing. Like you have so many fun interactions that I'm gonna do druid for sure. I'm gonna like, I won't boost with caches or something. I'm just gonna level as a new character, as a fresh character, because I want to
Yeah.
experience the fresh start
He's
of this
gonna,
character.
yeah, you're gonna log in, get like 2 dungeon powers, and then you're gonna go penitent and start blasting, I guess. So yeah, Shred is gonna be nice.
For the full combo, I believe you need 3 codex
3
powers.
even?
So that's
Okay.
also fun because you just do a lot of dungeons, and doing dungeons is fun while leveling.
Yeah. Yeah, either way, I might do the Shred. I'm not 100% decided on like the leveling yet. I might just kind of go with what I find. I like that the most as well, so I might not necessarily go for Shred or Pull for the 1 to 60, but then like in endgame, like, you get your first Rotting Lightbringer and Pull is online basically, right? And you start blasting. So that's just really cool. And especially on hardcore, so Pulverize is just really good for that. Alright, so we got the first question covered. Now let's move on to the second one, the highlight of the patch notes. Well, have you guys thought about something here? What is like really something that not just you want to play, but also maybe that was like a cool update, or like maybe something you're gonna explore later down the line where you're not sure yet, or something like that.
Oh, I have the perfect answer for this. Did you guys see that there was actually lines in the patch note that said Rogue got buffed? It's actually kind of insane.
Holy,
I don't think
wait,
I've
what?
ever seen this since season like 1. I don't think I've ever seen that a passive or anything was increased for Rogue. It's crazy.
Maybe they accidentally copy pasted something from an old post.
Yeah, true. Or like, everything is nerfed in various stability improvements for Rogue, like it always is. So, we'll see.
Rip and Dario Rogue, I guess.
Yep. 07.
Yeah, Rogue Wars are definitely looking juicy though. It's like something like a roughly ×2 across the board, basically just from the Paragons or so, or close to it, I think, right?
So yeah, it was like 77% increase, yeah. Like roughly. So it's pretty stonks. But I mean, apart from that, I don't know, like Rogue didn't really get too many crazy things from like the patch notes compared to what we saw on PTR. But honestly, I don't even think that we need too many crazy things either. I think there are some small tweaks to some interactions that would be pretty cool down the road, but we'll just see what happens, I guess.
Yeah. So on the Rogue train, I think it's never been more balanced than it is right now. Like the fact that like you can like when people like spin the globe and they put their finger down and that's where I'm gonna travel. Like you can do that with the Rogue skill tree and like just pick a random skill and it's probably gonna do tier 100. Like it's very balanced. But I mean we're the worst class, but like yeah, within the class we're really even in strength. So I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I feel like worst class is kind of like a very strong word here, right?
I
Like,
know.
if you're looking at like what the Chaos Armors do and like in general like how they buffed everything up, I feel like there has been pretty clear power creep and pretty clear like a lot of classes just like kind of got elevated through the most recent patches, including this one, and Rogue is one of them. So worst is like it sounds way too bad, I feel.
Yeah, I think the new Maxroll tier list, the overall recommended builds, highlight the fact that Rogue is in a good spot, or like there's 4 S tier builds in. They don't necessarily push the highest, but in terms of just like the experience of playing them, they're super smooth. You're mobile, you're tanky, easy to gear, easy to play. Yeah.
Well, Condes.
Okay, I have one leak about the patch notes, because
Okay.
walking arsenal got buffed into 15 seconds, which may not sound like a big deal, but for leveling, like I'm always very big for leveling because I love leveling in D4 and current state can be upped easily. And always for Barbarian, you had 12 seconds cooldown skills, for example, Mighty Throw, and your walking arsenal was 10-second only duration. And I talked to a Barbarian dev about it when I was in LA. Like, can we make 15 seconds, please, or like 12 seconds, or something like that. So I'm just writing this change for myself. I did that. and that's like for Barbarian, that's so huge, because if you can sustain the working arsenal buff consistently while leveling, it's just so much better to play, and it's so fun to play, because as Barbarian you have to play different abilities, so you have different damaging abilities, and I believe that's something that we lost. And also in the next season we have the Chaos perk, accelerating alternation or something like that. So for example, on Barbarian, you can just do like double swing Hota. So you give yourself Berserking, you apply vulnerable with double swing, and then you do a big Hota that's buffed with the perk, and then that applies for your walking arsenal. So you just need to do like one lunging strike to keep the bonus up, and that's like perfect gameplay for me. You do so much stuff, and it's like 10 times better now. I love that. Like leveling with Barb is gonna be one of the most fun experiences next season.
Yeah, I'm also a big Walking Arsenal fan. I guess a lot of people know that from like my very old like famous Kratos Barb that I really hope is coming back at some point, or at least something close to that. And it seems like we are going in that direction with multiple core skills or multiple damage skills. There's also the new unique now, the how did they call it? Saber of
Sagal.
Yeah, exactly. So we're basically incentivized to make these walking arsenal builds and to have many damage skills on your bar. So I like that kind of stuff. And I feel Barb always feels the most fun when I play these kind of builds, actually. Because they have such a cool toolkit with like the leaping, the charging, even the kick or something. It's just amazing. And when you can do these kind of things where like you have this like, really impactful combat, that's really fun. Yeah. But my pick, yeah,
Okay.
keep going.
I just want to ask that I'm waiting for the 360 pull, like with the, how is it called? Iron
Maelstrom 360 pull. What?
No. The I always forget the name. Like
Steel grasp.
the harpoons. Steel grasp, yeah.
Yes.
Steel grasp, yeah. So now we have a lot of abilities that just pull the entire screens, and on Barb we always had the steel grasp. So I'm waiting until they change, for example, the ancient oath. That's gonna be 360, so you pull everything for the whole screen.
That would be crazy. You'll see it.
That would be crazy, but if you just do it instead of damage multiplier, then that's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, sure, there's definitely viability there. I think if you give them something crazy like that, I think also for group play that would be insane. I feel like group play barbs already have a lot of utility there, so maybe that would be a bit much if you give them a 360 pull. But we'll see, I guess.
Everyone has 360 pull now, so
yeah, I guess pulling is relatively easy when it comes to like Diablo 4. There's a lot of crazy stuff out there. Like now we have the gorilla pull, you have the Infernal on the Zork, and Raymond, and yeah, plenty of stuff. I guess. Yeah. All right, for me, for the highlight for the patch notes, I'm gonna pick just the changes to the bosses, I guess. So yeah, I mean, we have a lot of builds and these kind of things. There's lots of stuff I'm looking forward to. But I think in terms of like making the game more interesting and fun to play, bosses now don't have immunity phases anymore when you kill them fast enough. So that is a pretty good change. I think a lot of people will enjoy, grinding their mythics now a lot more than before. Because, yeah, previously I guess a lot of people didn't even do something like a Nariel if they didn't really have to, right? And now you just go in, you do it once you're strong enough, and I don't necessarily need to fight the boss for like 2 minutes every time or something like that. So I think this is okay to do early in the season, a few times. But then later, when I'm that powerful and I have to do them 100 times, I don't want to do this every single run, right? So I think that is like a really nice change, and a lot of people will probably enjoy that. That's my pick here.
I disagree with this so much because there's so many people. I mean, your take is different, but there are so many people that, okay, I'm just gonna do a glass cannon and that's a perfect build. When you have mechanics in the fight, the full DPS character is not the best choice. And I love when you need to be challenged in a different way, not only as the damage dealer, because fight can, for example, challenge your movement. For example, Maven in PoE. Like now you have the Bartok fight, which does that, and that's fun for me. So if I can just one-shot him, then I don't have to fix this problem. They are just taking away a part of making a build that's powerful. I don't have to think about making a powerful character. If I need to, for example, tank I don't know, Lilith's auto attack. If I make my character full glass cannon and I don't even tank the auto attack from Lilith, then that's a bad character. But people will think that, okay, I have more damage. This character is better, and that's the bad way of thinking. And I believe that can have a negative impact on making your character, because everyone's just gonna be thinking about the damage. And if you can't kill boss in one hit, then that's just a bad character, which is not usually the case.
It's definitely a good point that you made there, Condis. I guess it kind of comes down to the fact that you just like farm these bosses so much, right?
Yeah,
when I think about like PoE 2, for example, like I kill like, one king in the mist, I don't know, every 5 hours or whatever, right? Or every 10 maybe, or depending on how much I'm going for it or so, right? And any of the other endgame bosses in a similar way, right? You do them very rarely most of the time, unless you specifically like buy the mats and then, do it 100 times or something. So you can do that, of course, but in the typical gameplay loop, you don't. So yeah, I kind of like the idea of having these like longer kind of like, at least like a bit of like a combat, right? Kind of boss fights. But the way of the 4, with how it works currently, I'm kind of glad that we got this option now, but I would like to see what you're describing as well, like where, you have to make a balanced character and you can't just do like, clickbait 7 quadrillion damage with like 2k HP kind of character, right? And go in there and just one-shot the boss and that's it. So obviously there needs to be a bit of a balance there, but I think at least playing from a hardcore, like as a hardcore perspective, I generally have these sort of balanced builds anyway, right? So I think this is not really a concern for us necessarily.
And my main concern about this whole topic is Lilith still giving a spark, because it was kind of challenging for most people. They couldn't even do it on T1 because you had to do all the phases. And now you just get free half of Mythic, because killing T1 Lilith is super easy. Like you don't even have to get full legendaries to one-shot her on T1. So now you basically have free half a Mythic.
Yeah, that's
You
true,
don't
I
even
guess.
you don't even have to try. There were a lot of people that couldn't do Lilith, which was fine, because they had to make a character, they had to do something about their character. Now they don't even need to make a good character to kill Lilith T1 and get half a Mythic.
It's just like a spark, right? You still need the runes and so on. I don't think it's such a big deal. But...
No. That's a big deal, because it's making game easier and easier. And if you make game easier, then you can't make it harder. If you give something to players, you can't take it back.
I feel like there's always a way to like nerf it again or make it harder.
Stance here. Sorry guys, I have a strong stance here.
No, I think this is like actually one of the most interesting topics in Diablo 4 right now, of the current state of the game in terms of like what the game could be, and maybe some of us think it should be versus like what it actually is. Like Woody's first point, like I like the current state of Diablo 4. It's good that there's no phases, because like we have to kill these bosses like 300 times to get what we're looking for. So it's just like it removes unnecessary clicking and waiting. I think that's a good change. But in an ideal world, yeah, I'd like to do Belial once a week or whatever, whenever I get the mats, and then like 3 mythics drop. Like I'd prefer that over the current state of the game, especially when like without dupes, materials being duped, like it's quite a grind with these bosses. So yeah, it's like it's a balance of like what we would want it to be versus what is the best for the current state of it, which maybe isn't ideal.
Yeah, like that.
I do.
That's what I believe we also need to say as content creators, that in an ideal world we would want something better. But I can agree. I did like maybe 5 Andariels per season, and now I'm gonna do hundreds of Andariels per season. So I agree with you with that. It's more like a cause and correlation problem. If we didn't have mats, then it would be better to farm 1 boss a day. Or for example, I always give the example when me, Woody, and some of our viewers farm for the whole week to kill 100 Duriels one day. We had to farm a whole week, like I believe 7 days straight, to have like 100 Duriels per one day, and it was.
Like, this was like 25 per person, summoning.
Yeah, like such a big deal.
It was like, man, I got 4 Duriels today, man, in 10 hours. Yes.
Yes. So that was a thing, and we one-shotted Duriel then, so it's not a problem now that we're gonna one-shot Duriel again. But the main thing is that we should always point as content creators for the best for the game. We shouldn't just agree that okay, that's a good change and they should never touch it again. Because, okay, this is a good change, but they should look for the better options, because there are better options.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I picked this from the patch notes because at least right now it fits in very well, but I do agree. I would like to see a future where, there is no duping, boss mods are way harder to get, but the bosses just, are way more rewarding and you just fight them less often, and then it's actually a fight, right? So you are maybe incentivized to go to like a higher torment level enough so that it's really worth the time that you spend grinding the mods, and then you actually, go in and you fight Andariel for like 3 minutes. And, as Matthias said, right, it drops like 3 mythics and, boom. So that would be really cool. Yeah. So.
I mean, because I think my main problem with this is the fact that you could be spending like multiple inventories and get like a couple of ancestrals at most, right? With the loot pool from the bosses as well, you're like, okay, I farmed Beast in the Eyes for like a full stack of materials, and I got like a bubble gum for it, right? Like that just feels bad. So like
Yeah.
I do agree as well that make the bosses more difficult, but don't shower us with loot. Give us more quality over quantity.
Yeah, like that's also something what I've been thinking, because I'm gonna do a Rapture variant where I need a third blade, and now Infernal Hordes are like uniques from Infernal Hordes are in the main drop pool, so I can't even target farm them. So getting Ancestral Third Blade now is rarer than Mythic.
Yeah.
Like, what the
Wait,
hell?
didn't they like shuffle it a little bit? I thought they redistributed these items, or are they not in any bosses loot pool?
I mean, they are in the boss's loot pool, but the loot pools are so diluted. That's
Hmm.
my thing. That's my point.
Yeah.
Like, there are like 20 uniques you can get from one boss, so you need to do like at least 5 or 6 runs to get at least one of each, and not even ancestral. And looking for the right GA is so rare.
Yeah, I also remember like Shard of Arathiel is a pretty important item that has the same problem, right? A lot of these
Yes,
basic attack builds
exactly.
run Shard, and it's also like in no bosses direct loot table. It's just like the random pool. And I was so happy when I got one. I thought like, man, this is worth like 3 shakos, Like, oh man, I got
Yes,
one.
exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, man. So I wish this would be like figured out a little bit better. So, like every boss has like a much smaller pool, distribute the items between them better, and then, we can target them a bit better. I think it'll be cool.
Yeah, it's also something that they can look at and try to find a better solution.
For sure. All right. Any other comments about this? Otherwise, I will move on to the next topic. Chaos Armor. So I just have like a little like time slot for this to discuss Chaos Armor in general. Just like kind of what are your thoughts? What do you think are the coolest options, or what is like a crazy combo that you put into your guides that people maybe didn't think about? What is like really standing out here? So let's just open the floor for that.
Ava, what are you?
Oh.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna put forward Ava because I haven't heard his voice in a bit.
I mean, I'm probably like the least exciting person to talk about this because I'm kind of anti Chaos Armor, like overall as a concept. Like, I like the concept rather, but I think the execution for certain classes with which chaos uniques they added to the pool, and the impact of those uniques in the pool kind of feels sag for some classes, and it feels like, oh my god, holy pogs, for some classes. So I think it's very high and low depending on what you play. For the builds that I'm covering, it's like, I don't know, I can force a chaos unique in there and maybe it will be kind of okay. uh so it's a little bit sad in that regard, but I love the concept, and what I think what they're trying to do with it is insane. Like just adding more variation to build creation and everything, just it's good for the game. Way better than just, well, here's the seasonal power.
I can add one thing to what Ava said, because what bothers me the most is that Chaos Uniques are a perfect crafting option. And I love crafting, and I just wished it was some sort of crafting that you can get like a shard of something and then try to transfer your unique into the chaos one, and then for example I have amulet and then it changes to something and then it's random, but I still can get the outcome because I found like an let's just not say the chaos orb because copyright, but make the Diablo orb. You put the Diablo orb on the Fist of Fate and then it changes to helmet, for example. So it's more fun this way. You still gamba, you still have to find something, and I just wish that chaos armors were a crafting thing because you could do so much cool stuff with it. And now we have just a Bartuk spin game that you just pull the lever until you find the right one.
I honestly got to add to that as well because I 100% agree. I think like my biggest problem with this is the fact that let's say we're making a end game build, right? It's like, yeah, we got 5 chaos uniques in this. You know, you're gonna be so strong, but it's like no one is gonna, like who is gonna
Yeah.
get exactly, the right, GAs maybe if it's a GA dependent build, and then it's like you're gonna have it in the correct slots because once you're getting one of them, you can only slot the other 4 in the 4 remaining slots, and then you go, trickling down effect until you need to get a specific one in every slot. So having it be a little bit more kind of like the player's choice in the slots in which you get the items by crafting or anything like that would be more interesting for me. But I suppose like the Pog moment of like, finally I got Fist of Fate helmet like I've been looking for like the whole season, like, all this time, like farming for 300 years, and I finally got it. That could be kind of Pog, but I would have preferred crafting.
Yeah, like the main thing for me when we are farming, is it a relief or are we pogging because we found it? And I believe like chaos uniques are more of a relief that okay, I finally got it. Fuck me, right? I believe like when when we have those builds with 5 chaos armors, you have 4 slots already, and then you find the right unique, right GA, but on the wrong base. You're gonna be so mad. And why? And I don't think it should be this way. I mean, they are supposed to be rare, so I get it. I like the thing that they want to make like a chase items. I love it. I love it so much that we have a chase items. I love chase items, but the execution could be so much better.
We're all gonna have 5 extra characters, one for each slot, like Helm Chaos Armors, and they just have like an inventory full of different stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
It'll be
definitely worried
chaos.
about the stash, man. The stash, like I hear people say like, "Oh man, Chaos Armors is such a cool concept. Or they should just make this permanent." Like before the season even started, right? But then I think back about the PTR and how I filled like 3 pages on my stash with all of the Chaos Armor options. They were just
They
so
all look the
okay.
same.
I have like 8 different helms here. I have like 10 different chests there, and like just to like mix and match and put this in the right spot. And oh my god, man! So I think people are gonna really realize, at least once you play like multiple builds, this is gonna be kind of a struggle with at least the stash space we have. Now stash space is obviously its own topic. We want more, and maybe at some point that will happen. But yeah, I generally have like a problem with like keeping Chaos Armors around, so I don't want to do that. I think for a season it's gonna be cool. But I also agree, yeah, there is definitely a struggle there where, okay, there's a chase, it's nice, but the chase is just full RNG. I can't really influence it. I can't even target, like a certain boss to get this maybe more likely. For helmets, for example, right? They could make certain bosses drop more helmets and then maybe another boss drop more chests, at least, or something like that. We don't even have this. So it's really just like all RNG, and I think that might become quite frustrating, especially for those setups where we literally have builds with 5 Chaos Armors, right? And some of them need to go in certain slots because they come from that slot, and then there's something else there. And yeah, the others you can maybe mix and match a little bit around depending on what you got. But it's definitely gonna be a struggle for a bunch of builds, I think. So it would be nice if there was at least some sort of RNG relief.
Yeah, I think overall as a concept, like we have some criticisms about like the way it's implemented, but I think I'm very glad and grateful that they're actually like this. To me, is one of the wilder changes. Like from the start of the game, I feel like it's usually like 10% more damage here, like small little numerical changes. But this is actually some for build creations actually fundamentally changes something. So I really agree with Conda's point of like this could be a starting ground for a test for them to see how the community feels about it, but then like turning it into a crafting thing where we can like turn any item to another slot. That I think that would be the dream way to implement it.
So you do think about maybe potentially making this permanent, but it's like, okay, there's one specific slot where it goes to, and that's it or something.
Yeah, like you farm this specific thing, like, and I want to turn, even maybe I could turn like a legendary amulet, but I can turn it into boots. And now like I can have 2 amulets or like whatever. It could be, maybe it's only unique, so I'm not sure, but there could be, and maybe
I
you
mean,
can only have 1 chaos item.
It would certainly be like an interesting concept to kind of like keep going forward with this and then have like some kind of like special Joker slot. I guess something like the Diablo 3 kind of cube comes to mind, where you can like, you throw in the power into the cube and then you just have that no matter what or something. Or I'm thinking about like Last Epoch with the recent update where they introduced these primordial items and you can have one of them either as a unique, there's like a specific primordial uniques and that are really powerful and really build defining, or you have like a crafted item where you just have like a T8 stat where usually the maximum is a T7, and that is like one of the stats is like really elevated, and it could be kind of similar to that, I guess, right? They have like this one like piece basically that's like standing out a bit. So why not? Yeah, if they want to do something like that.
Yeah,
The
that kind of
chaos
ties
slot.
into answering the question you initially asked. It's about like what's our favorite or like coolest chaos armor. Like for example, I'm playing a lot of Poison Trap lately, and we're fixed to this glove that's like the unique item that is the glove, and that means we can't have any other gloves. There's so many unique gloves that we want to have, especially for like a hit build. I want to have Fist of Fate gloves, but I can't. But now I can with Chaos Armor because I can put Fist of Fate on the boots. So like that's exciting. And same for Flurry. It's like this helm. There was a competition between the new unique Flurry helm and Air of Perdition. It's like, oh, they're kind of similar damage, but like, oh, now I can actually have both because I can have air on my helm and put the Flurry helm somewhere else. So I really enjoy that, and like those are the examples where it, I think, has the biggest impact. Like for Rogue Rain of Arrows, the Word of Hakan amulet can now be like amulet's one of the most powerful slots in the game. Now you can free that up for something else, making Rain of Arrows one of the strongest rogue builds in Season 10. So I think it's really cool.
Yeah, but is it only cool because we get so much power from it by moving stuff around, or is it actually cool? Like, do we like doing this?
I think that's my problem with it, right?
Fun.
Because like if the builds are transformative because of the system, that's pretty cool, right? Now it's just I gain marginally more damage. I get like 20% increase on the multis on whatever chaos armor that I'm actually equipping. So I think like the idea of it that we could take something transformative from like let's say a offhand slot or whatever and put it somewhere else to then free up other temper options or weapons or other uniques. I think that's cool when it is transformative, but I think kind of what we've been alluding to as well, like it just didn't hit that mark. It's still cool, but it's not like whoa punk.
Yeah, like I realized today when I was looking at builds that Lidless Wall Shield is a chaos unique. So you can have two-handed sword, for example, on Necro, and then boots that gives you 40% main hand damage or something like that. So that's so much. That's like 40 multi just as an implicit.
Yeah, true, because shields give you like 80% to your main hand damage or something like that.
or something like that. Yeah. So that's just a huge multi as implicit.
Yeah, that's wild.
So you don't even have to read anything else on this item. Just putting it because implicit is 80% of damage. Like, what's a good example? Because Frenzy is the best ability in the game. Of course, we know that. So now every Barbarian build runs Battle Trance because it gives you like 70% multi. But you have to have Frenzy on your bar for it to work. So every Barbarian is Frenzy Barbarian now. So that's a good season.
Yeah, Cons is happy, yeah. Yes. I mean, there's actually something cool on Spiritborn as well, I think, where we have the special of the quarterstaffs. So they are, first of all, very powerful, but it's not really the main part here. But Spiritborn in general is actually changing a lot thanks to the Chaos Armor. So with like, all of the builds that I've looked at now, I've tested Spiritborn the most as well on the PTR and done a bunch of the guide updates. And it's just really cool that you can now suddenly have, some things like Capeleke and Sabazontic together, and now like your core skills are now basic as well, and they get this insane damage buff, and then you also want to combine this with an actual basic skill, so you do like a rotation between them, and this is like this transformative stuff that really makes a build shine and really exciting, and something that actually feels like a next step in the progression, where like I guess the other examples like Matthias said, okay, you have like the fixed unique glove and there's no chaos version of that, but now you have another unique glove in a chaos slot that gives you a bit more power, like the Fist of Fate. Yeah, that's nice and all, but I feel like nothing really super like shiny, right? Where I think on the Spiritborn there's definitely lots of cool stuff going on, so they're gonna have a cool season ahead, I think.
Yeah, Spiritborn. I guess they got like because it came later, and they seemed like they spent so much time on that class. I feel like there's a lot of tags and things that I feel like a lot of the other classes don't have as much of. So I'm a little bit jealous of the Spiritborns.
Yeah, it's true. It definitely feels like Spiritborn, when it came out, was already like kind of designed with like a more modern mindset, I guess.
Yeah.
That is maybe still like lacking a little bit from the old classes. But I could imagine maybe that they realized, okay, this actually worked really well and people really liked it. And there's like combinations you can do with like, combining different spirits and then different passes and items that go with that and so on. And I could actually imagine that this is something that they're gonna maybe also take a look at in the future for other classes. We already get that a little bit with like some of the season perks now for necromancers, right? Where we make ultimates into core skills and the cores into ultimates. So this is exactly this kind of stuff as well, I think, that is going to be really cool and maybe you're going to see more of in the future. What is like your favorite like chaos armor or so? Like, the one thing, okay, I guess we heard like battle trance is like a barb thing, frenzy barb everywhere. But besides that, is there like, one build where I really think, okay, this, in this build, this is so nice that I could do that or something like that?
Mother's Embrace. Get some resources.
Oh yeah, Mother's Embrace. I can't wait for the first screenshot of the, like 4GA Mother's Embrace glove or something. It's gonna happen, guys. Someone listening to this will find a 4GA Mother's Embrace, I'm sure. It's gonna be glorious. But yeah. Yeah, Eva?
Honestly, no, I kind of gotta echo what Conde said with Liz Wall. I think like the concept of being able to use stuff like shields on other slots to get their effects, that has kind of gone unused because it's a shield. I think that concept is pretty cool. So like having those kind of transformative uniques is nice. For Rogue, I'm gonna skip and let Matthias be hyped about it.
Oh, I feel like I'm the only rogue that is excited about this, but I guess it's just like for me it's just like 1 is more than 0. It's like any change. It's like I don't have to run pants with Umbros on them that I've done for 10 seasons. Like it's like that's fun for me. So my bar is pretty low, but but just like the spirit points have the weapons on other slots. I think it seems like a common theme where the weapons, like for Rogue as well, we have Sky Hunter, Orphan Maker, the new unique. And when these weapons end up as Chaos Armors, that's when interesting things start happening. Like Sky Hunter has like marksman skills cast twice. Like, okay, now I can like benefit from that on my Rain of Arrows build or whatever it might be. So I think specifically Orphan Maker, because now we can, for Pen Shot and Barrage, we have Eagle Horn or Wind Force on our 2-handed slot, and we can run Orphan Maker as well as a Chaos Armor. So we can benefit from 2 kind of 2-handed weapons. And that's where, like, that's the closest Rogue gets to something spicy.
Yeah, it's got a pretty similar pattern to what we saw, like also on what I explained with Spiritborn, right? It's like when you suddenly have like all these weapons, and weapons usually have like very big effects, and now you can have multiple of them together with even like an aspect in like a normal legendary weapon, for example, right? Then stuff gets really wild, and I think that's kind of cool about this theme. Personally, I think Chaos Armor is going to be cool for this season, but there's like long term, like just keeping them around or something is going to be a bit too much. Not just for the craziness of the power creep that we're going to get with that, but also, what I said about the stash. And also, I feel like, for example, the item identity is kind of important. Like for a season, this is fine. But, I look at the helm and I know, okay, this is, Andario's helm, right? This is a Shaco, this is a Perdition. And I see them, I know the icon. But when you look at Chaos Armors, you don't know it. It doesn't have the same flair and the same like feeling. And you always need to look at them. This is annoying. So there is definitely a bit of a problem there as well, I feel. That is pretty much impossible to solve, I guess. So there's also another reason why I wouldn't really like for the Chaos Armor to stick around. But it's going to be cool for this season, I think.
Yeah, it's a small thing, but like I wonder if they made the icon, like if his Fist of Fate on the boots, like it actually would be the icon of Fist of Fate, but maybe it's like got the chaos corrupting it, but I can put it in my boot slot, or like so at least it has some connection to the original item. But it is what it is.
Yeah. Any other comments about Chaos Armors, guys?
I applaud them for trying, regardless. I know I'm like a negative Nancy when it comes to this, but I'm very happy that they tried something like this for this season.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. So, we talked obviously about like a lot of negatives here, I guess, or like doubts and so on, but it is definitely a cool theme and maybe the most impactful, like the craziest theme they have done. And that alone is already worth something for sure. And yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, like when we are talking in this way, then for sure is like the longest grind season yet. So for people that wanted the grind and always were just concerned about the grind in the game, well, we have that. You can, even if you did like on and on Infernal Hordes with unlimited keys, you would have to spend like 80 hours to find every possibility if you just find one and never repeat it. So that's a lot of grinding for this game.
That is true, but there is one thing maybe to kind of keep in mind here, which is that even if you don't get the perfect best slot options for Chaos Armors, you will at least get something. And even if you don't have the right one, doesn't like the best in slot, you can put anything else there, and most of the time you're gonna get a benefit out of it. So I think on one hand, yeah, it is super grindy to get the perfect stuff, but on the other hand, I feel like it really nicely shifts the progression curve to a point where, I don't really need mythics now, right? I don't need a Shroud, I don't need a Shaco or a Perdition, and I can still be very powerful because I just put something else in my helm and my chest slot, for example, right? And, maybe the pants as well, where previously most builds didn't really have much going for them. So that's kind of cool about it as well, I guess, and also something that I think a lot of the more casual players that will not actually even hope to get the perfect best in slot setup, they will enjoy that anyway, right? They just find something and throw it in there and then build the rest of the setup around it, basically. So you're gonna have like a very smoothed out progression curve where it's not like this insane jump from, okay, you have nothing on like 3 of your slots and suddenly you have like quadruple damage or something. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, that's true. The progression is usually like from 1 GA to 2 GA, and that's it. Like, but now it's actually you're going to be swapping out items, I'm expecting, more frequently.
Yeah, and the fact that they are account bound, I think is very fun. So,
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I'm like a solo self-fun enjoyer, but I also like to see that others kind of have to work for their items a bit more this time. So I guess I'm just like that. But I think it's also just gonna be fun. It's gonna feel more satisfying, and maybe a lot of people will start enjoying finding the loot a little bit more, because I feel like, especially when it comes to like softcore, like a lot of people just kind of like either get like insane amounts of Belial mats and then just go farm that until they get their stuff, or just straight up buy the item that they need or so. And I think it's going to be more fun for people to actually grind it out a little bit, even if they may not necessarily see it that way in advance. But I think a lot of people will come to realize it's actually really cool.
Imagine that, having to play the game. Yeah,
Yeah, insane.
I'm
No
a
way.
trader, but I'm excited to find my own loot for once.
Yeah, that also could be the point what devs try to make. They just want to test players, what they will do, how they will play. Like if they're gonna do dungeons and try to find as many chaos portals there, will they just spam Infernal Hordes? Will people just try to find Hell Tides? And that's also very fun for me because I'm usually super like optimized player and I want to find the best thing. And now when I'm looking, for example, at hordes that are usually set time, you just have to spend like 10 minutes per chaos item. Like, shouldn't I just do dungeons and maybe I can just do dungeons and that will gonna be better? Maybe just running Hell Tides and then dungeons in the spare time whenever I clear Hell Tides. That can also be fun, and the exploration, how to farm it, is also a very cool thing that I believe a lot of people forget because they are just so used to standing in Belial room that they don't even know that you can have some other things in the game to play, and now they are just gonna try to find it in the different places.
Yeah, that's great. I think a lot of people also needed something like that, like an incentive to not just buy 2,000 duped Belial mats and then log out after they've killed the boss 100,000 times, right? So this is also like why I feel a lot of people just get like demotivated and burned out so fast because they literally do not much else, because that's just the best thing to do for everything, right? You get the most gold, the most mats, the most runes, the most items, and you just do that, right? And now you kind of have to go out of your way. You cannot just stand in the Belial room, and no matter how much they're gonna dupe the Belial mods, I think a lot of people will probably realize, oh, there's actually more stuff, and it's actually kind of cool to go and farm something, right? So there's actually like a question I keep getting so often. Like people ask me like, why do you enjoy this game? Are you actually enjoying this game? Like, why are you playing it so much, right? And yeah, that's because I mostly just farm SSF, right? I play hardcore, and there's not really much duping going on. I don't really trade, and I just farm my own stuff, and I get to see a lot more of the game, and get a much longer tail for like the grinding and getting my work, like my build working basically. So it's just a lot more enjoyable, I think. And I think the Chaos items can maybe open the eyes a little bit there of some people that were kind of like in this, typical trade mode, right? Where you don't really farm much and you just have everything. And then, of course, once you have everything, what else are you gonna do? There's not that much more. The grind is the goal, right?
Yeah.
So this is the fun part. And a lot of people kind of just try to shortcut it too much, I feel. So we'll see how it'll play out. But I think it's probably going to be very enjoyable for most people, more than usual.
Yeah, I believe that's also something what happened to you. Like I had a viewer that just came to me like he just spent 8 hours in Belial room. This game is so bad. How can people play it? And I'm like, of course it's bad if I would sit in one place for 8 hours. That's why you don't do it. Like
Like,
if I were to
I-
sit in Belial room for 8 hours, I would log out. Of course.
I
Of course
hard
I would log
disagree,
out.
though. I hard disagree. I am having fun in the training dummy room for 8 hours. That's fine.
I mean,
Yeah, okay, training dummy is your best friend,
It's a-
Ava. Okay, this is not the same as
it's
Belial.
a
Belial wants to
room.
kill you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Training dummy,
Uh-huh.
training dummy only kills you with bugs. Yeah. So
Training dummy
true.
can kill you. Yeah.
This is true.
yeah, training dummy is friendly. He's just taking the hits. He's greeting you every time you walk in. So
Should be able to
Means,
name the dummy.
yeah.
True.
Or pet it like a dog.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, I have an interesting question that came up in chat, and actually someone else mentioned this earlier, something along those lines. So the question is, what do you guys think about aspects becoming more and more irrelevant? And someone else mentioned earlier, like, you've actually done it, there's only 2 aspects left in your Spirit Bomb build or something like that. And it's actually true. So what do you guys think about this? Is this fine, or like, I don't know.
I think I'm one of the people that complain the most that I have to feel bad about adding utility to my, build. Like one of the things that felt really good season like 7, season 0, was the fact that you kind of had to add some utility. Not just to stay alive, but to make parts of the kit kind of function. And now when I'm like, oh, I want to add this cool part, there's like a defensive, whatever. It's like, but I will lose like, 42% damage, it won't feel that good. So I kind of, it does feel bad. I do wish that we had a limit to the mythics that we could have, for example. And also that the utility slots could be just that, a utility slot and a defensive slot instead.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess if yeah, like is
Go for
it
it. Go for it.
should they limit us, or should they just make make these utility slots worth it, or utility aspects? I don't feel like it's a problem for Rogue or my builds where there's like there don't have like there's no worth in these aspects anymore. But I like obviously they're all offensive, so there's a conversation around that. Like, what about my defensive and utility are kind of forgotten aspects for Rogue. So that would, I'd say, is where I would have the current issue with the game, or there's a big chunk of this itemization that is not being utilized or needed, or so that's I agree with you on that, Ava.
Yeah, I'm kind of like on the same thought here, I guess, where I really like the legendary aspect system, the way it was designed with defensive slots, offensive slots, and there's like a bunch of kind of like Joker pieces, like the amulet, for example, right? And now there's kind of like moved more and more towards okay, we have legendaries, but they're kind of like getting outclassed at some point by the uniques, and there's like a bit of a progression, and it's okay to have this, but I think it's not okay that basically all of the utility and the quality of life is slowly being like kind of like optimized out of the builds, right? And the Chaos Armors is probably the culmination of that, where, you know, we don't even have boots that give us evade charges anymore, or that reset our evade cooldown. Like, everyone is back to like 1 evade every 5 seconds. And it's like, oh my god, man. Like, I was trying to play on the PTR with that, with like some Chaos Armor on my boots, and I didn't have the implicit, and you actually feel that, right? And it's just something that actually makes your experience worse. As okay, you are very powerful, you know, my boots give me like triple damage, wow. Right? But yeah, you do feel these little things, and we kind of like more and more like optimizing all this, like, you know, kind of fun and like quality of life out of it, just to get more power. And then the build will, the game will eventually be balanced around that power, right? Because we can achieve it, and if you give us these options to have triple damage on the boots, we have to take them. And if they don't balance around it, then, well, the game will just be very easy, right? Because you walk in and one-shot everything. So there is, yeah, there's definitely like a risk here of making the game less fun in the long term if they kind of like stick to a system like the Chaos Armors, and if they don't like dial back a little bit on, you know, stuff like Perdition Helm, stuff like the Shroud, stuff like, I don't know, like the Axial Conduit on the pants for the Zorks, right? I think it's okay that maybe the occasional build has some kind of important unique in those slots and is like an interesting item to include, but I think offensive slots should be offensive for the most part, and the defensive slots should have a bit of like a reason to exist as well. And right now it's just like throw in damage like everywhere, and the entire setup is just damage, right? So that's not good, I think. We definitely need to get away from that in the long term.
Yeah, like scaling damage on defensive slot was already a big thing for barbarians. For example, with the last season, we got boots with 100% multi. We had Ugly Bastard, which had 80%. Now it's 60, or it was 100. It's now 80 or something. Like it got nerfed, but it's still like OP. We have Chest for the Earthquake, which is also very big damage. And I believe that's also why Barbarian doesn't really feel Chaos Unix that much, because you already have 4 weapons, you already have so much damage, and your defensive slots had so much damage. And with adding new Unix to the game, legendaries will feel a little bit worse, because Unix have to have this crazy thing, and the like crazy bar is going higher and higher. Now we have like the new gloves for Necro are like 10 times longer than any items was in the game at the launch of the game. It's like 20 lines of text for the whole power. And I believe that's something also which contributes to it a lot. Like they want to make new uniques that are fun, but they also need to be good so people play with them. They want items to be played in the builds, so they need to make them very good. But if you make so many good items, then legendaries just become obsolete.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish they were more brave with utility, but like it's like we have like mobility aspects that give 15% movement speed. Like it's just not good enough. Like it could be like for the rogue, like remove dash cooldown as a mobility aspect. So it's like you just infinitely dash.
You're speaking my language.
Yeah, there you go.
Friends dashes to the target.
Yeah, like it could be, and like shared mystery. I used to love that, using that, and it could just be more like.
Yeah, I mean, some of these
freeze
aspects
the whole screen or
are
whatever.
really good, but then, yeah, kind of, it just eventually got better and better and more power creep solutions, I guess. And maybe it's more time to like dial it back a little bit than it is to like give us infinite dashes, you know? So that might be kind of like the wrong approach, I feel, where it's like, man, you can fly pretty fast already, right? Like, do we really have to go more crazy? So yeah, I agree that there's just like not enough power in those, and you can't really compare, like, you know, like something like, okay, you move a little bit faster compared to, oh, you deal double damage with your boots, right? So that is kind of the main problem, I think.
I think the thing here though is that I don't mind utility aspects being like kind of build defining in a way, right? That it like transforms your skills to the point where it's like, oh, okay, now I can play like this. Like quickening, for example, there is no reason why it should still have the, if you hit targets with it, you reset it more, right? Like there's just no reason for that anymore in how this game is designed now, because the game is too fast paced. and you don't want to hit like, oh, I'm gonna dash into an enemy, and if I don't, well, then I have to like RP for 2 seconds as a training dummy while I'm waiting to be able to dash again. Because like some builds have this, right? Twisting Blades, you have to play with Slice and Dice, and that's the utility aspect. If you don't play Slice and Dice as a like Twisting Blades rogue, you're actually trolling because you're losing like a 4 times multiplier. It's not good, but at the same time, it does nothing for single target, right? So it's transforming how you can play it and how you deal damage, but it doesn't necessarily make it too OP in a way, right?
Yeah, I
I
think
don't know.
Slice and Dice is probably one of those cases where it's like, it's clearly not really an utility aspect, but they put it in a utility slot just to like, this is like a way to like, transform this build in particular, right? It's like very build specific, only for Twisting Blades, and you can't use it for anything else. And Twisting Blades definitely needed some help with AoE, but not really single target. It was fine already, right? So that was kind of like a good inclusion there, and I would say this is fine to make like an offensive thing in a defensive slot or something like that. With the Slice and Dice aspect, but it's kind of like this general transition that we're seeing, especially with Chaos Armors, where like every single armor item is just offensive now, basically, right? Unless you need like this one very specific build defining thing in one slot or so. So
I do think like the main problem with this though is the fact that our multipliers on every slot is too large, right? If the multipliers were smaller, this wouldn't even be a problem. Like I could definitely trade like 20% damage on my amulet for like I'm gonna dash all the time. Like that wouldn't even be like a conversation to have. Like in some builds I would be able to like, okay, I'm gonna squeeze out some more damage. And in some builds I would be like, yeah, I want Umbrus on my amulet. But now missing out on like, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna give up a 68% multi because why not? Like that's not it's
yeah.
just too big.
Yeah, that's true. It's
Yes,
kind of like
exactly.
basically when the game came out, we had like way smaller multipliers across the board, right? Like most uniques weren't really crazy. Most aspects were like the typical aspect was like, I don't know, 20% damage or something, right? And now all these numbers like doubled or tripled, and obviously, like, how do you make a utility aspect 3 times more powerful compared to what it already did, right? Like it doesn't really exist. Like what is shared misery gonna do? Is it gonna like freeze the guy 3 screens away, and then for what, right? Basically, yeah, there's definitely like too much numbers, and it kind of like shifted the balance away from all these other options that we could have that we don't consider anymore, which is a bit sad. All right. Anyway, anyone else comments about the Chaos Armors? Otherwise, I would move on here. We had a long time now talking about this, but also an interesting discussion. All right, then move on. Chaos perks. So more season theme stuff. I guess we kind of like had a few things sprinkled in already, but I want to talk about that topic in particular as well. So what do you guys think about those? What is like your favorite or the most transformative? I think there's definitely a lot more stuff going on with like how builds are shifting thanks to those. So let's kick it off here.
I don't know if I should even speak about this question because like I'm again gonna be kind of doomer. But the problem I have with from again the context of the builds I'm covering, right? I think that's very, very important when you talk about this, that some builds are not gonna be transformative with these buffs that we're getting from the chaos powers, right? And some builds are gonna be very transformative. But for like Death Trap or Twisting Blades or Dance of Nice, it's like you now deal 2 times more damage and 2.5 times more damage, and then your health is not going up above 50%, but you're dealing 2 times more damage. Like it doesn't really it doesn't really change too much. So like I don't know. I wish the rogue ones were more transformative instead of just being damage multipliers. But at the same time, I'm very glad they exist, because otherwise, we wouldn't be doing any damage.
Yeah, I mean they tried a little bit, right? With before they changed this, what is it called? The rogue one of the
Enervating
core.
strikes.
Yeah, exactly, the core one, where basically you got all of the core skill tempers at once for 100% chance to like a double hit or something with your core skills, and then the other chaos perk where you like do like one core skill and then another, and you get like a resource refund and a damage buff. So I guess they wanted to make something like that work, where we actually use 2 different skills and to go like back and forth maybe or something like that. So the idea was cool, but I think it was just not really enough to make it like a thing, right? And then they just kind of backtracked a little bit and made it just like some damage buff for everyone. So
Yeah. Yeah, because I think like that one problem for Rogue is like we do not have a game right now where we have a support for dual core or triple core or whatever. Even with Orphan Maker, it's like it's actually kinda not possible to scale it that way, right? At least not in a meaningful way. So like Scuba Steve with 5 core skills at 5 points each, like he's gonna be pumping with that kind of stuff. But unless you're Scuba Steve, you're not really pumping with that, right?
it's the end. Yeah, so it'd be nice to get these like dual core builds again, Flurry RF. Like I dream of the time when I can finally play that build again. That was so much fun, man. But yeah, almost, man. Almost. Maybe another time.
Yeah, I agree that they tried because there are some interesting ones in there that like you give your basic skills a 3-second cooldown. It's like okay, like that the sparks, the brain to think like what can we do with this? And there's quite a few of those, but it's kind of the similar conversation to the one we just had. It's like yes, we have these weird new options, but I'm just gonna take the double damage instead because there's like that's
Mhm.
it becomes like obvious, the no-brainer which choice to make. But if I'm gonna give an actual answer to a specific perk that I'm excited about is the chaotic cooldowns one. I put it in quite a few of my builds where like it basically puts your cooldown between 2 seconds and whatever the cooldown is, and that kind of removes the need sometimes for like these cooldown reduction tempers where I can rely on like getting a bit of a lower cooldown. So like some builds I have 2 unique rings, and so I can't get a lot of cooldown reduction. So then if I run chaotic cooldowns, it kind of helps with that. And also a skill like Smoke Grenade for the rogue, every time you hit an elite with it, it reduces your cooldown by 5 seconds. So I can combine those two to like be able to spam Smoke Grenade in a way that wasn't really able to before. So there's some interesting cooldown play styles that you can do with that. That is the chaotic burst build that I mentioned at the start of this pod. That utilizes specifically that perk.
Yeah, sounds kind of cool. I'm also a fan of the chaotic cooldown. I think for me, one of the most exciting perks is actually on a Necro, the Alter the Balance. We don't have a Necro represent here,
Yes.
so we don't really have like an expert, I guess. But yeah, that is definitely something really exciting. So your your ultimate skills now become core skills, spammable with resources instead of a cooldown, but they're like a bit tuned down. And your core skills become ultimates with a big cooldown. So you kind of like flip the two. And they made like some custom animations and like how they behave and so on for all of the skills. And I think that is really amazing. So Necros definitely have something to like work with here and explore. And I've seen some cool stuff with like Soul Rift and Bone Storm from the PDR already. That definitely makes me excited to make a Necro this time around. So maybe later on after I've done like my season start stuff, I'm gonna load up a Necro and just like see what we can cook there. But that is probably the coolest power they have made for this season in my book. What about Condas?
From my perspective, I'm when I was looking mostly at leveling, the Spiritborn is a clear winner because you have the power, I believe it's called Alacrity, that your third hit is on your second hit. So for example, for evade, that's so OP because basically you don't need the cooldown reduction for evade. You don't have to scale it that much, and while leveling you can already just jump so much. And then you have the power that gives you the core ability hitting again, but gives the cooldown. But if you hit the third strike, then the cooldown got reset. But your first strike is on your second strike, so you evade anyway. You evade and then make the Thunder Spike. So you can just evade and then, for example, Crushing Hand and teleport with the Crushing Hand too. So for leveling, Crushing Hand evade is so fun, and I believe that that's also something which can be very entertaining for the players that are coming back, for example, after a few seasons, that they will have such a cool experience even at the start of the game. You don't even have to look for the unique combo with super chaos stuff. You can just equip 2 perks equip a Eagle Spirit Hall, and then you just log in.
Yeah. I mean, Evade Spiritborn is like the best leveling build in the game, I guess, overall. And now it's getting even crazier with what you
Yeah,
mentioned.
it's
So
got buffed so much.
yeah, so it's kind of funny. Like Spiritborn are definitely like eating well here, I guess, across the board with like all of the late game stuff with the Chaos Armors and now these perks as well. Spiritborn definitely has interesting things as well. Also like the combined strikes, where your core skills get a cooldown and you reset it by using a basic skill, which you can do either with just evading and then getting this third strike with a Sabazontek, for example, or just, for example, in the Quill Volley guide, I've done that where I actually just do like a 1-1 rotation with like Thrash and Quill and kind of like go back and forth between the two and just kind of like stand in place and just, you know, melt stuff of like, I think it shoots like 25 feathers at once or something. It's kind of wild, the Quill Volley with this perk. So that's just super fun and yeah, very powerful as well. And it just feels so cool to like shotgun into an elite and it just like explodes basically from getting hit like 25 times. So there's some cool stuff there. Do you have any other candidates?
I mean, if I were to say about the best one, then it is of course the auto shotgun for the Barbarian. Because you can have a nice auto bomber now on Barbarian. We have an aspect that says that not after casting, but if you have if you have a shout or something like that, like the wording that doesn't say that you need to cast it, so it works with the auto cast from the House perk. So you just shoot dust devils all around you, so and you can just run around or even sit in place and kill everything around you. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be like AFK Infernal Horde Farmer. You just stand in the middle and there's dust devils all around you, constantly spawning from the auto shouting. That's gonna be a fun build, yeah. Also looking forward.
And the best part is that it's balanced because it's not like super OP. Because auto bombers shouldn't be like the best things in the game. You should have like you should earn the power, and if you don't click anything, then it shouldn't be the best thing in the game. So that's also like a good thing for me.
Like, can people just like go in Hell Tides or something and just put their computer on overnight and just level up? Like, like
Yeah.
Yeah, that will work,
Yeah,
yes.
but it's not worth it though.
Yeah, it's not really crazy. Like, yeah, this AFK farming, I guess, is not that strong or so in that sense.
Leveling up overnight on Helltide, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have like half a paragon. Nice. It's so worth it. My electric bill is not worth it.
Yes, so I don't expect that to be like, I don't think we're gonna see like a Bobs standing AFK everywhere, but you can definitely do that if you really want to. And for Hordes, you know, Hordes being a big thing this season with the rework, that could be kind of like a nice build to just play there, because I did it on a PDR actually, and it was super fun to do this like auto shouting with Dust Devils. So a cool build there for bars, and they're also getting a bunch of other stuff for their other builds. So generally they're looking pretty good, I think.
It's good for people working from home. They can like just like click the Hordes perk, whatever, the boon, and then just like tab out and like go
Yeah.
do some work for a minute and then go back.
That's gonna be perfect, exactly. Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be plenty of people doing something like that.
That is the
Ama-
vibe Blizzard is going for.
Yeah.
Let's automate the gameplay. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's like one
It's
build.
like Farmville at that point.
Yeah. It's just one build
No,
that
I
does
like-
that, I guess, but there's certainly people that will seek this build out for that reason, I think. Should be pretty safe on hardcore even to do that, because you also get like tons of extra life regeneration. As long as you're like somewhat tanky, you're just gonna stand in all of the stuff and it just heals you up.
Challenging shout is like 70% DR, so
Yeah, that too. That helps.
a little bit helps, yeah.
But overall, I miss like each season. Obviously, the powers disappear, and like I really enjoyed being able to remove barriers and remove damage reduction auras and all these utility things that feel good. And now they're kind of replaced with just more damage. So I'm like, I like the utility powers or perks more. If I could tell feedback to Blizzard, I would go with the utility route.
Yeah, I agree with that actually. I think some of the seasonal pass that we had, people really enjoyed them. This was like season 8, I think, right? Where, or was that season 9? Season 9 actually, right? With the Horadic spellcrafting, right? Where we just had this like, okay, you can now turn off like a chilling wind, or you turn off the damage reduction aura, as you said. We also had other stuff in the past, right, where Necros got unstoppable suddenly or unhindered, and that really helped them with like stuff like Blood Wave build, where you have to go play Pac-Man with the Blood Orbs, for example, and these kind of things. Yeah. And that stuff is always like really nice for like a season, and then it just goes again. And I feel like we need to bring back more of these things. I totally agree. And I always wonder like how could they do this, right? So like we have all these like, for example, like really powerful build defining unique items, and I'm a big fan of kind of like forcing people to have some fun stuff on their gear with that, or like some cool utility that just feels good. Like one example that I always like to bring up for this, just to get the idea across, is like the old Gore's Devastating Grasp, where before they made Whirlwind work with attack speed, the item was the Whirlwind item and it had attack speed on it. And everyone was like, man, this doesn't do anything. Why would I want this, right? But I'm like, no, this is nice because attack speed just makes it feel good, right? You do your leap, you do your charge, you do maybe whatever else to like, buff up your Whirlwind. And all these things now suddenly feel better because you are forced to have attack speed on your build. And, if you want to make the build stronger, you can just buff the item in other ways, right? So from the dev perspective, they can just tweak the numbers wherever they want. But eventually, I think they actually removed the attack speed then at some point because everyone was complaining, right? But I'm a big fan of having these kind of things where it's like you are forced to have something you would not actively seek out, but it feels good to have it, So I definitely want to see more of that. And, for example, these, remove the damage reduction aura, maybe remove any affix, remove Maul aura, give you some speed, some utility, some unhindered, these kind of things. As if you just throw them in there on, very targeted, very specific items or so, that could definitely help a lot to make the game more enjoyable on a lot of builds. Like, especially what we discussed earlier with the Chaos Armors, like actually removing utility from our gear. I would like to see more of it.
I think I would enjoy that if it kind like not exactly like this, but like the gems you put on armor in D3, right? Like where you had some customability through that. Like adding more crafting options in D4 so that we have player agency of all of these things would feel good. I don't think I would feel good about like I need to farm and hopefully get this random Giga mythic that also has the remove the ER aura on it or something like that, right? It would have to be like some level of player agency to make it kind of feel engaging. But I definitely agree.
Do you have any other comments on like the Chaos perks or like this topic or something?
I know it's like a thing where people like are tired of like every season has powers, but I don't mind it. Like I think if it's like an easy thing for them to just like kind of reproduce each season without too much dev power, like go for it. I think what everyone is craving is permanent changes, like season 4, like Loot Reborn. Like I think that's what we all want, right? Like permanent improvements to the game. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think like maybe we can like pivot over to that topic a little bit. Like, I agree, like a lot of people are waiting for like bigger changes, right? And I mean, Blizzard has announced that stuff is coming. We know the expansion is coming next year and all that, right? There's definitely a lot of stuff on the horizon. But for those people kind of coming back season by season, it kind of seems like at first glance not really that much has shifted since the expansion launch, for example. The expansion was a relatively big, break in how the game worked. And since then, we're kind of going by season. There is seasonal stuff and, obviously updates to the build, more items and more options and some reworks like the Infernal Hordes now. That's kind of nice and it moves the game forward, but relatively slowly. And I guess all the big stuff is just like, we don't see it, right? It's just somewhere behind closed doors for now and no one really knows what's going to come. And
No one knows.
there we go. Yeah. So that is kind of like, I guess, one thing here that is a bit sad. But on the other hand, I guess for the people that enjoy the overall state of the game, they have something to look forward to with like the seasonal themes, kind of like shifting something for every build, right? That's kind of the big advantage. We have so many different builds in the game. Like, I think on Maxroll alone, we have like, I think nearly 70 endgame build guides, and that's not even all the builds that are, competent, right? We're talking about like maybe 100 builds or so in the game that are all like, T4 plus like farming status at least or something like that are like distinct from each other with like different skills and whatever. And there's so many options to play and so many things to try. So that part is relatively good. But then we need also something that is kind of like making it interesting to do, right? So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, like the one topic I can give you guys is that after season 10 ends, we have season 11. Will we even do hordes?
Will we do
Like,
hordes?
will there be a reason to do hordes, or will they have to just like buff the Obdusites to the roof? So we just do it for Obdusites. Because we won't get Chaos Armors there. So will we even do Infernal Hordes in the next season? So we're just gonna be wait until the next update of Infernal Hordes. They have to rework it again.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's fine that they kind of like take a look at it again, like maybe down the line. You know, it's like a live service game. The game is changing. You know, they're adding more stuff and so on, right? It does make sense that they would kind of come back and take a look, but I feel like they should make sure that the entire game is kind of like moving forward at once, right? So that okay, we have a shift in how the game works and how we farm, or you know, the mix of activities, and it shouldn't be just like okay, one season is this, one season is that, and just like the one shiny thing, right? It should kind of like be more stable, I think. And then whenever updates are needed, they should just do them and not like, okay, we waited 5 seasons. Okay, yeah, I think it's time again. Infernal Hordes, rework 3, right? So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like the activities in the game cannibalize each other so much. Like that's like the best part of Chaos system is that it's mostly farmable in hordes. You can get some in Helltides, you can get some in dungeons, but if you want to target farm it, then you do hordes. For example, if you want to target farm mythics, you do bosses. If you want to target farm obols, you do pits, and that's, I believe, is very healthy for the game. But whenever the Chaos Armor goes away, then hordes need rework again. They should make mechanics in mind that they have something that's for the mechanic. So, for example, in season 11, we know that there's gonna be some crafting stuff or something like that. And if there's like a crafting item, if there's something to craft, like we have, for example, altar to craft somewhere that we need to finish a dungeon. For if in example in Last Epoch we have the Woven Echo that you need to finish the dungeon, then you can craft something at the end. So that's a good example of good mechanic. You need to do the mechanic, and then at the end you have the reward that's exclusive. But then there may be a 10% chance that this altar also spawns in Nightmare Dungeon. And I believe that they should focus on something like that, because if we have hordes again, like you have a choice to farm hordes if you want to farm hordes, but you have no incentive to do it instead of another mechanic. For example, Undercity for Obducite, it's gonna be always better. So it's very important for them to look at the mechanic from the wider perspective, in the perspective of the whole game.
It's very evident this has been a challenge since the launch of the game, I think, where it's like they're constantly like spinning this plate and like, oh, what about Helltides? And like, oh, what world bosses? And like, oh no, we lost the purpose of the Legion events. And they're like, oh, there's this. So it's constantly up and down with all these things. So yeah, ideally they all have and like a very defined purpose.
Like I believe Legion event is a very good example, because there were seasons that we farmed a lot because there were a lot of materials, and then they just shifted materials into bosses because you can just salvage everything and get more.
yes. Yeah, it's kind of sad how like certain activities are like so overpowering everything else. I guess bosses is like the biggest culprit here, which mostly comes from like the dupe materials and stuff, because if you do SSF, then you can't do infinite bosses. And for example, in season 10, now we don't get Titan tributes anymore from doing bosses. So the only sources will be mostly just pit runs, I guess, where like occasionally you get a Titan tribute and then get a bunch of boss mods when you run Kuras afterwards. I think that will be a pretty noticeable shift in how many bosses you're gonna do if you don't trade. So that is definitely a good step forward, I think, for the game, where it's like it's gonna be like a more like okay, we now actually have to do some Helltides if you want to farm Guiguara to then farm Duriel, for example, right? We kind of go back to the old like boss ladder that they initially had, and we don't just go into Belial room and sit there for like 10 hours, right? And so this is kind of important there. So yeah, I'm glad to see that they are trying to like overall like make a better mix of the activities, but I also agree it sounds dangerous at least where after season 10 is over, is Horde still gonna be relevant? Who knows, right? So maybe it's gonna be like something that they do for, I don't know, a little bit of Ulticide at some point, maybe a little bit of gold, but doesn't really seem to have like a very clear purpose after that. Actually, while we're at it, is there like any other game improvements that you are looking forward to maybe? So wishlist style, like anything that you feel like needs to change in this kind of fashion with activities or where drops come from, or something else you would like to see that doesn't exist at all?
Relevant tooltips would be nice.
Okay.
Nah, but memes aside, I do think that like just better cross activity, like you guys were talking about as well, right? Like one of the things that I personally enjoy with D3 was the fact that like if I did something, I also got something for something else all the time, right? So like you had multiple reasons to do a specific activity. Obviously, I didn't grind it as much as some of the rest of you, right? Like towards the end, I only played it like for a couple of seasons after Reaper of Souls, but I just enjoyed the fact that like I could do X activity and still get Y, you know, or Z, whatever. Here it's like it feels very binary. I do Nightmare Dungeons for Obdicite, period. I do Pit for XP and maybe for, you know, glyphs, but that's it. And then I do bossing for mythics and, you know, well, right now you also do it for materials, but it's like I would, like you guys were talking about before, I would like to see more uh double reasons to do shit, I guess. So there's like more incentive to do more different type of content.
I mean, you can fix that easily with like a character meta progression in a way of Atlas passive skill tree or something like that. Just make a skill tree that gives you Obdusite while doing Helltide. You can just spec into that if you want to do that. You can have like extra boss mats after finishing a Nightmare dungeon. That's that's like the easiest thing they can do, just meta progression. Everyone picks their poison. Someone loves to sit in Infernal Horde all day. Just make, for example, every Infernal Horde you finish gives you free, for example, Whisper, like 5 points to Whispers done. And then you can just have like three of Whisper and Infernal Horde build and farm this all the time because you just like that. And if we give player choice what to do instead of forcing them to do, like, for example, Undercity for boss mats, and then someone can change that, no, I'm gonna do Helltide for boss mats because I'm gonna spec into that, then that's the best thing they can do because players will choose what they will do. And also,
Yeah.
we have crazy videos for YouTube that I farmed Helltide for 10 hours or something like that. And I
So
can
you
make
don't
a
have to.
fun video. So you don't have to, yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I farmed Belial for 10 hours every single day, all season, so you don't have to, yeah.
I mean, that was my enchanting PTR video, remember? When
Yeah, like
I did 5,000 rerolls on the enchanters, so you don't have to.
Yeah,
and
that
the
is
thumbnail,
uh,
like the thumbnail is day 1, like the happy face, and day 100 is like the sad face.
What do you mean perma happy face?
For my happy
Diablo
face.
good.
glorious, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think
That is
I just love meta progression so much and giving player more choices. Like the game not letting me choose which Nightmare dungeon I want to farm. Like I can't just target farm sigils. It's a very weird thing to me. Like I should be able to spend like a material or something or like a currency to just reroll my glyphs to have like, okay, for example, I'm gonna farm Saratler and Champion Demise and, for example, uh, I don't know, Deadman's Dredge, and I believe those are fine, and then I can just do that. Not just go like Zenith 10 times in a row because I just rolled bad.
Yeah, a bit of targeting would be pretty nice, I guess. I still like that there's like some sort of like randomization with like Nightmare Dungeons, for example, but maybe you could like make the pool smaller or whatever, right? So there's like still RNG, but it's like more of my favorite dungeons or something.
I mean that's the thing what I'm saying. If someone doesn't want to do that, they won't lose materials. For example, with those currency that I'm rerolling my glyphs, you can use this currency to do something else. For example, buff your glyphs. So you're just gonna do any dungeons you roll, but you're gonna buff them so they give you more. But I'm like, oh no, I need to do only Dead Man's Dredge because that's my favorite. I'm just gonna roll them and waste all those mats. So I'm gonna be at the disadvantage, but I'm just gonna do what I want.
Yeah. Okay, I can agree with something like that. And I definitely agree that something like Atlas Passive Tree or similar to like PoE is definitely needed. Like we need something like to customize the experience, to make juice, juicing in general. Like it's not enough to just make like a Torment 5 and a Torment 6 or whatever and then call it a day, right? Because we still do all the same stuff with all the same RNG and the same like lack of target farming and so on. And I do like that, for example, if you really don't want to do a certain activity, you can maybe try to like, go around it with that. And it might be at a disadvantage. It might be, not the most efficient. But yeah, on the other hand, I would also not like to see that you only do Helltide and that is the only thing because you can like spec into it and you can get everything there, right? So I don't want that where it's like only one thing and then people are gonna try to find like the most optimized or the most efficient thing to farm and just do that again non-stop and then burn out again. I think the variety of content that we go through is good, but maybe there could be more tweaking where, okay, I really don't like this thing, so I'm gonna leave it out, right? Or maybe those two things here and the rest I still kind of have to do like a bit of a mix or something like that.
I think
It's more about the balance. Like for example, we can use the example of PoE. If you want to get some essences in PoE 1, like the higher essences, you need to spec highly into essences. But if you just want something smaller, you can always get some from Expedition or from Ritual, and that's fine. But you won't get the best essences. You will get
Yeah.
something, but you won't get everything.
Yeah, something like that is nice. And also like, for example, making certain stuff more difficult but more rewarding, and then also like maybe with some targeting of stuff. Something like, okay, you go into Nightmare Dungeon and there's like your Nightmare Dungeon tree, and I don't know, you can like spec into, okay, you get 50% more Opticide, or every time you kill a boss, it gives you like 10 times the XP reward, so you can actually farm XP in Nightmare Dungeons a little bit or something like that. Or okay, Butcher is
give it to the next person.
Yeah, Butcher is now, plus 1000% HP and plus triple damage, but he drops 5 uniques or something like that, yeah. Stuff like this, right? Where like he shows up more often and then he's like super hard but he's like also really rewarding. Stuff like that. I think we need like a lot of these things where it's like, you can customize it. Maybe you can like, for example, change the events in Nightmare Dungeons and maybe you have a 25% chance that like a Nightmare Dungeon event is replaced by an invasion of the robots from season 3 or something like that, right? Or like the Millennium guys from season 1, and suddenly they drop like these new crafting materials so you can make some like legendary gems to put in your jewelry or whatever, right? So there could be so much cool stuff, I feel like, with stuff that's already existing from previous seasons that they can just put back in that they've deleted at some point. This could be so much fun, I guess. I would like to see that.
You just randomly meet the seneschal that will help you in the dungeon, and it's just a small thing like that, but it's gonna help, and it's gonna be like a cool way. Like he's gonna maybe spawn more enemies or something like that, and that's just a gameplay thing that's gonna make your experience unique.
Yeah, exactly.
I think one thing that I'm kind of happy they did this season, but something they should have done more of, I guess, is the fact that like the random events that we got in Nightmare Dungeons in general, right? I found it like super cool. Like, what the heck is Mr. Helltide Bug doing in my Nightmare Dungeon? Like that sort of stuff was like really cool. But the fact that you kill it, early game, we're like, oh, sweating, killing it, and it's like, okay, you got 200 of the site. It's like, what? That's not it, right? So having more events like that where you can like, oh my god, I got the Goblin Drift, let's go ahead and go, like that those sort of events makes farming more enjoyable, and you get more frequent dopamine kind of rushes or whatever. And I think that's kind of important as well.
Yeah, like I believe the conclusion is that the thing that we get is more dopamine generating than the things we kill too. So like if I get like 100 zombies that starts to chase me, then okay, I'm just gonna kill them. But if I know that those zombies can drop something, it's gonna be way more exciting. So
Yeah.
that they need to think about the introduction of some kind of maybe unique materials or just the rare events that can get you something that's really dopamine generating. Like I believe Rax is talking about this a lot, like uh, the drop of the divine in the Diablo 4 and how much we need it.
Yeah.
Like
Just a resplendent spark, boom, like, oh my god, like...
even that is a good start. If I
Yeah.
can get resplendent spark randomly, I'm just gonna pog out.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Yeah, that could be really cool stuff. Matthias, do you have any input, like anything? Doesn't have to be
Yeah, I mean,
specifically
it's
this, but
like there's like obviously so many low-hanging fruits that everyone always talks about, whether it's like masterworking or it's like re-rolling at the occultist and like these things that are like kind of like obvious. And then there's like beyond that, it's just like what you guys have been discussing just now. It's just infinite possibilities of ideas that are kind of just like do whatever. Like if I would talk to Blizzard, like anything would be fun. Like it's almost like just like go ham, go crazy, kind of in the spirit of what they've done for season 10 with the Chaos Armor. It's something different, something that we haven't seen before in the game. Like be brave, dare to mix it up. I think yeah, I love the idea of like Butcher in season 0 or whatever, where it's like it was kind of hard to get a Nightmare Dungeon tier 100 sigil, but he would always drop 2 of them. So it's like, oh my god, he's actually a challenge, and I know it's actually really rewarding to kill him. So I totally agree that more of those would help the game a lot. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're slowly coming to the end here, so I have one more question that we had lined up. So I want to also open the questions for chat here. So if you have anything that you guys would like us to discuss that we should pick up here, then put that in chat. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. So while we go through this, I will just kind of like gather, and then we're gonna like maybe do some Q&A at the end or something. And the last topic I have here is which builds to keep an eye on. So something that, I don't know, you feel is maybe not 100% explored, something where you think, okay, we had some stuff in the final patch notes that we didn't actually try. Is there like, maybe some surprises that you would expect that would have some potential here? So is there something cool that is on your mind there that you want to check out when the patch is actually live?
So there's this thing called Dash Rogue. Nah, but I don't know. I feel like when we talk about builds and everything, I think like the most important thing is not actually the build themselves, but the tier list structure that we did, right? Like the change we did. We're talking about end game and how playable the builds will be, how good it will be, like in the overall landscape of Diablo 4, and not just oog, I can do high pit tiers. So I think like when we're talking about these builds and what we're looking forward to and all this sort of stuff, like that's, I think that the coolest part is actually how we are trying to change the perspective about the game, right? That being said, unironically, I think builds like Dash Rogue or other like archetypes that only needs like a little bit of push is kind of like the hot stuff to look out for, right? Like the stuff that they might not only need like a little bit of extra help to get to a state where it's actually super fresh and interesting to play. And I think the more people that do try to cook stuff like this and give that sort of specific feedback, the more likely we are to get those sort of builds. But that's nice. Just go down some nice.
Yeah, there's not too many I don't know, unknown surprises outside of in the PTR. We weren't actually able to test Rain of Arrows because it was bugged. Like no arrows would come out. It was like a sprinkle of arrows. So that is like we're like the expectation is very high for it, but we never like no one has seen it. So it's kind of in the first couple of days, whoever gets to put the gear together and finds the right chaos armors, and it'll be exciting to explore because no one's seen it. And then other than that, I think it's for out of all the seasons, because I know even casuals sometimes are curious to build their own build and just like try their best, like click on things, and even though they didn't know all the mechanics themselves or understand the things, I think in this season you is one of the best to kind of go in blind or whatever, like do your best to put it together however you do your best to do it. And I think you can probably get a pretty good result, even if you're not like completely min-maxed. And then if you run into a wall, you can go to a build guide. But I think experimenting in this season is it's gonna be fun.
More like honest.
I can agree on that. Like the funniest builds next season are gonna be like T1 after getting your first or second chaos unique, and then you have like a weird combo. For example, you find I don't know, Shard of Varatiel, and then you got a Lucian crown on your boots, and then you try to find something because you don't have the hoofs already, and then you can try to do something with those. You have the power that gives you double basic skills, so then you try to do something with them, and then you maybe find something. It's not gonna be like super optimized, and maybe not the best thing for the end game, but for this while you have a fun build, and then you try to do something with it. Like for the end game builds, I hope the chaos stuff will be fun, and I don't really see anyone really looking into them that much. And for example, doing it on Spiritborn with Quill Volley, going full lucky hit chance, maybe a very, very strong thing, because you get so much also stuff, so many multipliers with the chaos uniques that it can really alleviate it. Like for example, on Barbarian, you can get 7k strength now with the percent strength, for example, from Battle Trance that you can get on boots, and then you can also have the amulet that gives you percent strength. So if if builds will work this way as they did, for example, in the Witchcraft season, then stacking strength on Barb can lead to a very nice damage. So like the build I said, the Friends Barb Chaos stuff can really be good. So I'm gonna try it, and I believe it's gonna clear T4s easily. Just how high it's gonna go. Maybe it's not gonna go to hundreds, but if it goes like 90, then that's gonna be fun already.
Yeah, it definitely sounds fun. I think for me, it would probably be like the Gorilla main hall font stuff. I think I briefly mentioned this earlier, but that is definitely something that kind of like we just discussed after PTR, but I think no one really tried it, at least from our team or something. But that could be really cool, because kind of funny enough, before Spiritborn came out, before Season 6, this was actually like one of the most anticipated builds, where we're like, oh man, you can do like fonts and then like proc it like 100 times per second and go crazy. And then that just never really came to be, basically, because he had way better builds. But now there is a bit of potential there, so I'm kind of excited to see that in action. And besides that, I guess the Necromancers alter the balance. I don't think you have seen all of it. So, you know, the cores now being ultimates, the ultimates now being cores. I think there could be some fun stuff, especially with the core skills being altered to be like way more like, you know, wow and impactful and stuff. And then maybe finding ways to actually make this like smooth enough and like a well-rounded build in the end. I think that's gonna be very fun to try. So I'm gonna be cooking that at some point as well. All right.
I must say as well, the Shadow Step shenanigans, I'm kinda sold on it, man. Like
Ava
during
is
the
still
podcast
cooking.
now, I'm doing like 10 billion per Shadow Step right now on season like 9. And I'm not having like, I don't have half of the stuff. I don't have any method working or anything. Like this is unironically like pit 105 to maybe 110, like 110, like
Oh god.
maybe. I don't even know anymore, man. This is like the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
For Rogue, this is like god tier.
All right. Well, that was basically all of our topics for this podcast. So let's just go to the chat questions again. I want to open it. So if anyone wants us to cover anything, or you want to ask anything, or like our guys here, then feel free to put it in the chat. I gathered a few. So just real quick, your season starter, just like shoot it out.
Flurry.
Dash. Nah, that's nice.
Evade Eagle.
Okay, pulverize for me. All right. How do you guys plan to level up?
Campaign. Voch campaign.
Spinning
Interesting.
rapidly.
I've never redone the campaign. But I won't do it this time, but probably just a lot of hordes, like early, like the 4-wave horde keys. Like that'll start out there and see what happens.
How do you get the keys?
I don't even. That's the question.
Yeah, you have to go Helltides and then Hordes, right? So I guess that's probably... For me, I think it's going to be also... I don't want to do campaign. It's really fast. But I think I'm going to do like a mix of Helltide, try the new Hordes, and some Kuros on the City. I think that's going to be kind of nice too, with like lots of cooldown that you get there. Okay, what are your bets on the most game-breaking bugs next season?
Spiritborn.
A bit more
Just
precise.
As a class, just I mean, there's always something, right? So like,
I'm gonna shoot Sorg. Sorg is gonna have something packed.
Jaguar, quadruple, mega, triple, spaghetti, dip or something. Like I don't even know anymore. Spiritborn always finds a way with Jagger Mainhall.
I think Pain Gorgers, like not on the like boots, but if you put them on the pants or something, like some weird thing where it's like somehow.
Oh yeah, they showed the wording on Ramaladni because they've added post PTR Ramaladni Magnum Opus as chaos unique, and it still says that while using this weapon, while wielding this weapon on helmet.
Yeah, you just
So
headbang
whenever
them,
you're
you know?
headbutting things,
Yeah.
You just
Yeah, so
headbutt
that's-
everyone, yeah.
Yeah, so that is oof for sure.
That can be bugged for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah, I'm not sure where I would place my money here, but I think Ramanatnis is a good candidate. Mana Shield is probably a good candidate. So who knows what's gonna happen with some stuff there.
Mana Shield with Endurant Fate, for example, right? Or something like that.
Yeah. Someone is gonna die somehow straight to the Mana Shield from that on hardcore. Like I can always see
Yeah.
that happening. Like
Exactly.
okay.
that have never happened on hardcore before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Other people in chat mention at least 2 classes gonna have infinite damage. Jaguar Hall, yeah. Who knows if that's gonna be probably fixed. Overabundance, Boiler mentions. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, any more questions, chat? I had one more here. Do you guys miss the gauntlet? What about that?
Yes. Yes.
I see the posters. Everyone's got them.
Nah.
This poster is not from Gauntlet.
It's not from the Gauntlet,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, okay.
This is
Okay.
from Special Snowflake. But
I
no,
see,
like
I see.
I honestly miss it because it was something that I could do at my own pace and like trying to optimize and all this sort of stuff, right? And I only competed against other of the same class, I liked it. And it wasn't just execution, it was map planning, doing the math behind all of the like routes, alternatives, and all that sort of stuff. Like I actually do miss it a lot. But I'm in a minority, I think.
Yeah, I miss it too a lot. I grinded like a month trying to get rank 1 every week, but my problem with it was that it was so time like it needed to be my full-time job to play it, to figure out the route, and like I wish it was more like you have 5 chances per week. Like the weekly gauntlet, you get 5 lives or whatever,
Okay.
or like some kind of like, or even a 1 chance thing where it's like you just have to play reactively, respond to what you're seeing, maybe get lucky, or something that didn't like it was just too much of a grind for me to like, and that would make it it would invite every casual to participate, because it was one of those like 0.1% of player base that like cared about it. So I would like to see it come back in some in a
think-
different way.
I think that was mostly because of the reward structure, though, and like why people didn't participate, right? Like, sure, it was maybe a bit daunting to do it as well, but like the fact you got like a bubblegum and a can of Coke for participating after a week. Like it doesn't really feel like too great, right? Like even Steve was like, rather go fishing or something. So like
Yeah,
I don't know.
like the biggest downside for me with Gauntlet was that I had in the back of my head that I should just farm something else. Like I didn't get any reward from it. I mean, after a week I got like a weekly cash or something, but I I always thought that if I upgrade my character, if I farm more and get better gear, I would get better score rather than just standing and trying to get like a better route or something like that. So that was my most like problematic thing because I just wanted to farm something and get items and get XP. If I were to sit for 2 hours and didn't get any items, didn't get any XP, that felt like such a waste of time.
I something I wish with Gauntlet that actually that gear wouldn't matter. If anyone did like challenge modes in World of Warcraft, they would have like back in whatever it was, Cataclysm, whatever. Going in, not Cataclysm, whatever, Mist of Pandaria, like going in and having a preset level of gear and everything, and the only thing that mattered was like routing and how you did stuff and like changing your skills and that sort of stuff, felt really good. Like the whole like grind to get Korean level gear didn't really matter as much as like the planning and execution of the run.
I mean, that's for me kind of anti ARPG though.
Yeah,
It
sure, but
it may be fun
sure.
for MMO, but for this game type, I just want to show my items and that I'm better a player. Like I have better gear and I'm a better player, or even better, I have worse gear and I'm a better player. That's like the most satisfying thing. But I'm also talking from the solo self-found perspective. So I also always seen like, okay, those guys have way better items. I can't even compete with that.
Yeah. Okay. I think we had a lot of like discussion about the gauntlet now. It was just like a quick question. So let's do like one final thing, and that is maybe okay for those people listening. Like a lot of people here are like, okay, they haven't played for like a few seasons. Should they come back? Like, what do you guys tell them? Like, what do you think about this season compared to other seasons, or like what is like, what would bring people back? Do you have any kind of like comments or something? Why should you log in?
I think Diablo 4 is amazing. Like for what it is, I think a lot of people just like bandwagon opinions without actually thinking for themselves sometimes. And for me, Diablo 4 is like a 2-week journey once every 3 months that is a lot of fun. Like just killing monsters, putting on some music, like you can watch a documentary on your other monitor. It's like to me it's like a peaceful game. I love this 2-week window where I'm just like grinding the new season. And I think the game has plenty of changes for people that haven't played in a long time. And even for myself, I play every season and I'm still excited to try new things. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Like, why not play every Diablo season? Just jump in, have fun, and you don't need to min-max your gear, get mythics. Even just leveling a character to 200 Paragon and then log off, that's fine. But yeah, I'd say I recommend this game to anyone.
What about the others?
Speechless.
Wait, I need to say something positive now? Oh no.
Listen, I've been kind of positive, just been critical. Honestly, I think depending on the class you're playing, I think this season is probably the season where you could play any archetype that you enjoy and do everything in the game. So I think like if you are in a state where like you haven't played in a while and you want to sort of discover the game again and like find the next true love for you in this title, then I think this season is actually pretty good. I don't think there's any archetype that is supported that is outright trash. You can probably level glyphs with every single build and be kind of happy. So like I think if you haven't played for a long time, coming back and doing that is probably gonna be a pretty fun experience.
And Condas,
See,
you
I
have
can be positive
anything
too.
to chime in? Condas?
I mean, for this season, I believe we have the craziest build maybe we'll ever get in the game. So especially for people that want to grind something in the game because they will say that the game is so easy, you don't have to grind anything. I believe that's the season to grind. Like, I the mid game is fun. The early game is not so much. I believe it has the most problems. But if you can endure those 2-3 hours of this weird leveling phase, then you can just go to the very fun mid game. Finding first unique, first chaos unique is gonna be so amazing. Unlocking everything. The unlocking part is very fun for me, like doing all the Tree of Whispers for your tempering, finding the first scroll for retempering that you also need. That takes a lot of time and it also gives you some gameplay. Finding the first uniques from bosses. Mid game is in a very good spot, and then for the end game, farming some chaos stuff. For me, especially figuring stuff, the how I want to farm it. If I'm just going to buy a lot of dupe mats and then farm bosses for 20 hours, that's not the play. The last season, most mythics I got were from farming runes in Undercity, and I did so many Undercity runs, and it was very fun to me. So you don't need to just follow the stream and do everything as everyone wants to do it, how everyone wants to do it. But also for the players that are really trying to get into the stuff, you always can just send the feedback. Like if you want to go to the game and you tried the season, then you can always say what was fun, what was not fun, and just give the devs some info how to make it better.
Okay. Yeah, and okay, one last question, and then we're gonna wrap it up here slowly. But there was something that someone mentioned. What builds do you guys miss the most from previous seasons that you wish would make a return?
Rogue.
One-shot death blow. and and the 6 ability combo that we had to time.
The
Yeah,
12-second barb or like something like that, or what?
I mean, 12-second barb is a different thing because you just have to wait, and it's no gameplay. You just stand and watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want to make this joke about watching, but yeah, I'd rather just do stuff than watch. So the combo on Death Blow, and you could do like, I believe it was 300 million hit when everything was like 10 million DPS, and you were just like bonk. Yeah, that was amazing.
Was that like the
And-
time when like Khan one-shot the world boss or something like that? Like back in season 2 or something?
Yeah, we all did that. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. I remember that.
yeah.
Okay.
I have things of it, and of course Charge Barb, season 3 Charge Barb.
Mm-hmm. What is that, Ava, earlier, by the way?
Rogue. No, but I was just memeing and saying like the lucky hit interactions that we had earlier on, right? And how potent they were was kind of funny, but then the ICD shenanigans kind of ruined it. So like Victimize and Andaro's Rogue, that sort of stuff, I kind of miss. And I do find the balance of attack speed and lucky hit and then doing damage with those sort of things kind of interesting because of, me being the silly person that actually collects all the data on it and figures out how it actually works. So yeah, if anything, I think like the lucky hit functionality builds would be pretty cool if they came back.
What about you, Matthias?
I miss the combo point poison pen shot 27 combo points because it was Abator's
Peru.
here. But even just like I don't think I've played ranged poison like the combine those two, like marksman poison and combo points. Like there's so many factors of that just disappeared. Like the last 5 seasons of Rogue, you pick a skill and you spam that skill, whether it's death trap, pen shot. You just like with preparation, you hold down one button and it becomes kind of what's the word where it's like every build's the same, feels the
Homogenized?
same. Yeah, exactly, that's the word. I do miss. And combo points is making a comeback in season 10 and now with Orphan Maker and stuff, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, that's what I miss. Combo point builds.
What about you then, Woody?
I guess I have like one clear winner for me, which is Flurry RF back from season 0. I think in general, like the season 0 builds that we played back then were just so much fun. But yeah, Flurry F is probably the number 1 for me, closely followed by Kratos Barb, with like, all of the damage skills, like 6 damage skills on the bar, man. And, they were all contributing. Everyone was just like a little buff tool. Like that stuff is so cool. And I'm a big fan of these kind of like combo builds where I have like, one button for this situation, one button for that situation, something for AoE, something for single target. Flurry F also had like the shadow imbuement, everything would pop in a big pack. Like that stuff was so cool, and man, I would really love to kind of go back and play that, one more time or something.
I
But
think
yeah.
you have to wait for Diablo 5.
Oh, yeah, Diablo 5 is like a decade away, I guess, so that's a bit unfortunate. But yeah, Diablo 5 launch is gonna be big for sure. Yeah, we're gonna play Flurry Up again.
Sure.
All right. So with that, I think we're gonna wrap it up, guys. We went a bit over time here. It's like roughly 2 hours now, I think. But that was a really fun discussion. So thank you all for coming. So for the listeners and the viewers, so this was Ava, Condis, and Matthias. They're all on the Maxroll team, just like me. And well, we're gonna be blasting the season, so keep an eye out for their content, their streams, and of course their Maxroll guides. But we also have a lot more stuff, a lot more people in the background as well. Some of them were here in chat as well. I saw some of our guys, but we have like, I think 15 people now on the team, but obviously not everyone can be on the podcast. So we're kind of representing the team here. But it was a lot of fun, guys. If you have any final comments that you want to share or something like that? No.
Have fun.
seconds.
Yeah, like focus on having fun and not looking for the holes, because if people want to look for the bad things, they will find it. And just enjoy the game and killing demons. Like it's not that complicated. It's like video game, guys. It's not that complicated. It's a video game that is made for people to have fun. The only bad way to play it is the way that you don't have fun with. So just have fun.
Well said.
Yeah, I
Honestly,
agree.
yeah, same. Don't compare to other classes. That is not how you have fun.
Yeah, I think there's much fun to be had on all of the classes, on many different builds. So just pick something, start blasting. It's gonna be great, I think. So this is a good season to just have fun with whatever you choose. So I'm excited for that. I'm gonna be playing so many builds. All right, so that's it. Thank you guys, and well, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you, chat, for like hanging out, the questions and everything. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.